Hey friends, welcome to a new episode of Friends with Boundaries. Gonna try out something different, kind of take myself out of the, camera spot for now. I learned this little trick from other podcasters that I am following and just gonna see how this works. It takes away my self-consciousness, takes away some of the worry about, how I might appear, them not looking at the camera, because I feel very impersonal when I can't find myself looking at you all, right? And at the same time, I'm trying to read my show notes, and it becomes something that feels a little bit just not engaging, and that's not what I want. Hopefully, as time goes by, I get a little bit better with camera angles and improve a little bit on how I want to appear. I can, put myself on camera again. I'll still try to drop out shorts, maybe, segments from the podcast, things of that nature, but I'm trying to make it better and hopefully it's improvement time. So how is everyone doing? I took a week off. You probably won't know if you are listening to this episode later on. So this will be episode 5. And lately I've been just playing a lot of pickleball and really enjoying it. I know it's a side kind of thing that I'm really getting into, and it's been fun. I've met in a community, and it's been one that talks about the love of this hobby. And definitely, if you are in the mood, not mood, but if you are wanting to get yourself involved, I do have an affiliate link for discounts on really good paddles that are already at a good price, but you'll get an additional $10 discount on any paddles you buy. And yes, this applies for every single paddle that you buy. So yeah, putting that aside, let's dive back in. Today is a continuation of last week's podcast. We want to talk about more relational things. We want to just jump right in what boundary looks like in romantic relationships, and maybe even in friendships, as some of these would apply. So anyone else feel like love is like a tug-of-war? Like you're either vanishing into thin air or clinging like a koala. And you're not alone in this, honestly. It's not romance, it's attachment. And today we want to understand attachment maybe more on a clinical level, a deeper level, more so than how people throw around that word often a lot. But let's remember, as a short disclaimer, this show is not meant to replace therapy. I am a licensed clinician, and I do see a lot of these elements kind of affecting my clients. But however, this show is meant to be facilitating a dialogue, something for us to be more thoughtful about, and just having a time where we can clarify ourselves, clarify our wishes, wants, needs, and be able to make that distinction and be the best version of ourselves for others as well. And in previous episodes, we learned how important it is to really understand ourselves well, really taking the time to tease out that, we're not only saying no, learning how to say no, but also taking one yes at a time. I think that's just one of the models that I will be practicing for the year of 2025. And hopefully that's something that you also can walk alongside me and maybe provide some ideas. Again, if you want to contribute to the show, hit up the email, which is friendswithboundary@gmail.com, or my Instagram, friendswithboundary handle. So in the previous episode, also, we talked about the possible origins of how we have developed our boundaries, how we are today, how we relate to others. In the realm of romantic relationship, right, it's a real curious battleground, if you will. And for some, it might not feel like a battleground. Certainly, learning to navigate a boundary between two people it can make or break a relationship. Really, if we are not open, if we are not reflective, if we're not willing to adapt, change together, then a relationship will be hard pressed to survive in a lot of sense. Now, we are diving into more attachment styles and how that really show up, and how boundaries kind of appear. Those are very, very visible cases of when boundaries really expresses itself, and it bears for a time for us to be thoughtful about them. Where did they come from? How did we get here, right? And how did that why do we need to compromise? prior to all this talk about mental health and relational skill building, in the past, all I learned from about relationship is that we need to compromise. We need to, be able to sacrifice a little bit of ourselves, and also, hoping and our partners will sacrifice themselves for us and make this love relationship work. However, as I dive deeper into just both observations from the work that I'm doing and also into the counseling literature, it really ties back into boundaries, beliefs, values, expectations. All are in the realm of boundary, because it is communicating why some things are so important for us that we need to stand our ground about it, and while other things are more sorry about that, more things that we can make compromises for. So let's dive back in, and excuse the phone call. So we'll look into two attachment styles. We have remember, in attachment, if you are talking about attachment, there are four of them, or four well-known. Certainly there are more variety of them, and they differ in different degrees and differ in different relationships. In the case that I learned when I learned this, they mentioned that secure attachment, one that we often appear in many people's lives and relationships, are more of the dominant attachment style that we'll see. Now, over time, as I've become more aware or connected to society, I've noticed that the anxious attachment style is one that presents itself more. And then there's two. There's anxious approach, right? And then there's anxious avoidant. And then there's a fourth one, the disorganized style, which today we will not talk too much about it. But that one is one that probably deserves its own attention on its own. Now, let's look first into the anxious approach. This, at its core, both actually shares a anxiety about losing a person or losing a part of themselves, and that's how you make the distinction between anxious approach and anxious avoidant. The anxious approach in the United States, as I see it, is one where we really set aside ourselves, our needs, our wants, our wishes, in order to please the other person. Our thoughts, our actions, motivations, all tied into wanting to be enough for a person, wanting to be this end all be all. And we're often taking the time to, or not thinking, but reacting in a lot of way. And their actions are to ensure that you won't leave me. I don't want to be left alone, which, in and of itself is not a bad thing. I don't want you to hear that this is a bad thing, but there is a sense that, a person, an individual, this anxious approach style may have learned from childhood that they need to be often self-sacrificing, seeing that as the highest virtue, that their time, their wishes it's too much to ask for, that they're spoiled if they're asking for things that, such as attention, or, just wanting to be loved or asking for warmth. They're told in indirect way most of the time, right, that is too much to ask for from me, and that you should not be asked for, because when you're asked for these things, you are spoiled, you are too loud, too big, too needy. And so the person makes themselves small in order to please the partner, and whatever the partner needs, attend to their needs. In Miami in particular, Miami, Florida, it's a very interesting dynamic I see. And I'm not just singling out one ethnicity or one race. It certainly shows up in a way that's more common in many families, where the female, the mothers, the girlfriends, the daughters are socialized in a way that they need to be a caretaker, and to the extreme. This is again, I want you to hear me clearly. It's not bad to want to give of yourself, to be a caretaker. Nothing wrong. It's when we take it to an extreme, when we are just not finding that balance, that there's a give and take, and often telling ourselves we don't need anything, we just need to give of ourselves whatever you need. It pushes that to an extreme where a person may not have any preferences, or feel like when asking for something, it's going to anger their partner or disappoint their partner. And so the result here is to really make themselves lesser and putting so much onto the partner. Now, when they have a safe and secure attached partner seeing this, the attached partner may feel confused about about the relationship dynamic. Perhaps more so, they also feel just frustrated at times that they cannot reciprocate love, warmth, giving of themselves to the anxious approach partner, because the partner will not tell them what is necessary, what they need. And so in many cases, this opens up really for deeper conversations, and hopefully the secure partner understands how to reassure, assuage the fear, if they want to be a supportive partner, and open a really deep dialogue for the anxious approach partner to start thinking about their own needs, start articulating, so that a mutual give and take, a partnership truly happens. So now we go more towards the other one, the anxious avoidant partner. Here we are typically seeing someone who seems well put together, seems to be very, very clear for about their boundaries. However, what you'll notice is that they cannot seem to keep many relationships, whether it's romantic, friendship, or what kind of relationship. There is an emotional wall built up, and they are certainly on one level seeking some companionship, seeking some type of relationship. But when they get to a closeness, right, in a vulnerable, when they would need to get to a point of really being able to, wow, sorry about that. When they need to get to a point of opening themselves up in order to deepen the relationship, they, instead of feeling love and safety, they experience more of a fear of being exposed. And in doing so, they end the relationship, they terminate a relationship, or they start pointing out things of why this relationship is not working. And unfortunately, a lot of times it feels more like an attack, like a criticism, a really nitpickiness of their partner, because getting close would be too painful to bear. Getting close would unmask that they may not be as self-assured, may not be as confident as themselves. And then this is what leads to happen typically, is that they find a way to make the other partner feel bad about themselves, and they end the relationship, and now they get to blame the other partner for not making the relationship work, or the flaws are emphasized or made more than it really is. A good example, if you watch Good Will Hunting, that is an individual with a very avoidant attachment style. Some may even say disorganized, and again, they're on the spectrum, right? But his expressed very, very clearly the avoidant attachment style, where as he gets closer to his love interest, he begins to lash out. He begins to, point out things that seemingly could sound logical, could sound true, but it's deeper. If we look deeper into his actions, it's one of fear of getting close to someone, whether it's a deeper fear of being rejected, even though there's no sign of it, or they feel that it's really emotionally naked, if you will, to be that close to someone, to as the relationship is starting to seem real. And so a lot of times too, what I notice is that these individuals will go through life, will get even to the point of marriage, starting a family, and then find ways to sabotage themselves and sabotage the relationship. And this leaves a lot of broken pieces, right? And leaves a lot of people affected in the family, including young children, extended families, in-laws, only because they were not able to look deeper into their avoidant attachment style. So I do hope that if you notice these things in yourself or in your partner, that you don't ignore them, ignore these signs, and seek reassurance, seek support, seek help. I mean, counseling is the best, mode that I know of exploring these anxious attachment style. But you can certainly do some deeper work on yourself if you're willing. There are self-help books out there, there are videos out there, and just a lot of resources. And the one that I will definitely uh, encourage you to go and read is, again, the same book as I recommended from the last episode, Attached by Levine, and I forgot the other author's name. But that book helps you both reflect on yourself, which attachment style that you have, and what attachment style that your current partner or past partners had, that hopefully allow you to grow, hopefully allow you to learn something a little about yourself and help you move towards secure. Because, in all honesty, we want to have a healthy and secure relationship. And so, if this episode cleared something up, share with someone navigating this attachment style, whether it is the avoidant or the anxious approach. Drop a comment with your style. Where do you feel like maybe you're more secure in one relationship but not as secure in another relationship? Open this as a dialogue. I would love to hear from you. Again, you can reach out to my Instagram, Friends with Boundary, drop a DM, excuse me, or our email, which is friendswithboundary@gmail.com. If you want to support the show, continue having these dialogue moments or these, helpful, just thought-provoking dialogues, use my affiliate link for Amazon purchases, for your pickleball hobby, and that will really go a long way to supporting this show and helping me continue building on and knowing how to grow the show as well. You don't need to be fixed before you can set boundaries. You just need practice, clarity, and courage. Goodbye now, and I'll see you next time, friends.